Spongebob Squarepants is a show that's so popular, if you haven't heard about it, you're probably living under a rock. Which also means that SpongeBob and Patrick aren't actually friends and the show's been lying to you for 20 plus years. The point that I'm trying to make is that SpongeBob is a cultural icon. He's been around for so long that we're starting to see sequel episodes pop up. Whether they attempt to breathe a new life into an old idea or act as a continuation to a certified classic, one thing's for sure, they might just be running out of ideas. Idiot Box is an absolute classic. From the very first joke, you can tell that you're watching SpongeBob.
See anything yet, Patrick?
I need my glasses.
SpongeBob and the Patrick are waiting for a TV they ordered in the mail. The mailfish delivers it, but they don't want the TV, because why would they when they could have the box it came in?
You two ordered a giant screen television just so you could play in the box.
Pretty smart, huh?
I thought it wouldn't work.
TV is nothing when you have...
imagination.
I guess what this show is trying to tell you is that you're better off living in a box with imagination than watching TV. Which says a lot about the people watching this show. Go live in a box.
Spare change. Spare change, ma'am.
But it's a good thing SpongeBob and Patrick have copious amounts of imagination. So much so that they can somehow project their imagination adventures into the real world. But not fully into the real world. Just the sounds of it. Whether they're climbing up through the dangerous snowy mountains in an intense showdown with the cops, or partaking in a fierce battle at Robot Pirate Island, this episode does a stellar job at making the viewer's imagination run rampant, while also making the viewer stare at a cardboard box.
Let's go for it!
Hello?
But that's exactly why this episode works so well. Since it's all about SpongeBob and Patrick using their imagination, nothing real is actually happening. So the episode doesn't show anything, and it relies on immersive sound effects so that you, the viewer, can use your imagination to picture what could be possibly happening inside that box. Though to Squidward, the thoughts are real and he's completely befuddled at how they could be making all this noise with just their thoughts in a cardboard box.
The saws are on the way!
Aha! How are you doing that?
SpongeBob and Patrick's imaginary box adventures prove to be too much mental trauma for Squidward to handle, who gets mad at them and they just say he's upset because he has no imagination. So he goes to his closet, pulls out a box, and proves them right. If there's one thing the viewer and Squidward have in common here, it's wondering what actually is happening inside that box. Squidward goes absolutely insane trying to figure it out, so naturally the viewer would also be a bit curious. He enters the box, and SpongeBob and Patrick are just happy that he's wanting to join in on the fun. So, how do they do the thing?
Beep, beep, beep.
For that, you walk the plank.
Well, that explains nothing, and yet, somehow I'm satisfied with the results. But Squidward isn't, and he leaves the box more annoyed than before. Come nightfall, SpongeBob and Patrick get tired and they go home to sleep. Squidward still believes that there's something more to the box than just imagination, so he sneaks into it, looks around, and oh hey, I guess he's got it all figured out.
It actually works. I can't believe it.
Maybe he has imagination after all. Or just comedically perfect timing with the dump truck.
This is the most fun I've ever had!
He gets taken to the dumps and we never hear or see from him again. Until Squiddy at Box 20 years later. The show really felt empty without him all this time. Nah, but for reals, this episode introduces a fun idea and pushes it to its limits, while having great moments around it to accent it nicely. Like when Squidward uses the television SpongeBob and Patrick gave him to try to get his mind off their adventures.
It is here that the boxes reach their final stage of assembly. I couldn't afford a present this year, so I got you this box.
But you can't always have a good idea then expect that alone to make a good episode. The sequel episode Squiddy Box proves this. It may have a fun premise, but the way it plays out is, well, it happened. When you ruin the lore of a cardboard box, you know that you've gone too far. This episode actually had some real potential for fun moments, but good concepts get ruined by poor execution all too often. SpongeBob finds his old box in the attic and wants to use it again, and we immediately destroy the lore. The box got hauled off to the dumps at the end of Idiot Box, so how is it in his attic? Unless he and Patrick in between episodes decided to go fish it out for some reason. He can't seem to get it to work, and so he and Patrick drive it to an imagination box repair store. The box master here takes a gander at the old box, which then leaks on him. Didn't need to see that. He tells them that the box blew a whimsy gasket, and again, I am confused. How? In Idiot Box, the only thing that the box needed were two whimsical dudes and their minds of endless wonder. They were the whimsy gasket. But since whimsy gaskets aren't made anymore, nothing can be done. They take it back to their three-house neighborhood where Patrick gets unfathomably angry and chucks the box at Squidward's house for some reason.
Old box is just junk now.
Hey, get off my sand!
I guess he fell into his own
Imagination.
Again, that's not at all how the box worked, but I do like the idea of falling into your own imagination. That's such an esoteric concept that I feel has tons of potential that get ruined here because this episode... Squidward is now in his own imagination, and anything he thinks becomes a reality. This build-up is actually great, and I think there's a lot of fun places that they could have taken it, but what they do with it is just make another Squidward torture episode that's really fun to watch, and I enjoyed myself a lot watching this.
Scary sea snakes!
This episode's just basically a cycle of Patrick causing Squidward fear, while SpongeBob tries relaxing him, just for Patrick to cause him fear again.
Whatever you do, don't imagine a stampede of sea elephants!
Thanks a lot!
At one point, Squidward gets told to clear his mind, which he does, and it puts him into a white room. SpongeBob tells him that reminds him of the Doodle Dimension, which is where Doodlebob lives. Squidward apparently forgot what Doodlebob looks like, even though he has clearly seen him before.
Watch out for Doodlebob!
What's he look like?
So SpongeBob draws Doodlebob, and he drops it into the box. The drawing becomes real, and Doodlebob starts torturing Squidward. Who would have guessed? That definitely happened. Yippee. Why was he here? He has no point in existing here. Squidward just wants out of this constant existential nightmare, and at the end, I guess he kinda gets what he wants. He ends up believing that he's actually free, so in his mind, nothing is off. He goes to his job at the Krusty Krab, and
The good old boring Krusty Krab. May I take your order, sir?
Should we tell him?
Nah, he sounds so happy.
Squidward is eternally lost in his own mind, and we never see or hear from him again. Until Skibbity Box 2, which is better because it doesn't actually exist. This episode is proof that not only did the writers not see the original classic Idiot Box, but they also had to prove that they didn't even see the original Doodlebob either. I feel like I need to take a bath with bubbles in it, and then make myself a... Only 3 words need to be muttered to remind everyone how iconic this episode is.
Hinga-dinga-durgan.
Everyone remembers Leif Erikson Day, but does anyone actually know who Leif Erikson was? Leif Erikson doesn't even matter to the plot. SpongeBob just wants to celebrate Leif Erikson Day with his friends, but everyone's too busy.
SpongeBob went to get more giant paper.
SpongeBob went south for the winter. Love, Sandy.
I don't get it. The water's fine.
No.
So SpongeBob, being the professional bubble blower that he is, exhales himself a friend-shaped bubble into some soap. And well, he kinda just hangs out with a bubble all day. SpongeBob's ability to take a seemingly boring concept and morph it into a top-tier core memory was absolutely astounding. First a cardboard box and now a bubble, named Bubble Buddy. And Bubble Buddy may just seem like your ordinary normal fish-shaped bubble, but this bubble's got a personality. The personality of a complete menace to everyone around him except SpongeBob. I'm honestly impressed that by the end of the episode, they managed to get most of Bikini Bottom to hate him. They go to the Krusty Krab, and SpongeBob orders him Krabby Patties in every single conceivable way. Of course, since he's a paying customer, Mr. Krabs forces Squidward to comply with every one of his insane requests.
Here, one of everything. No cheese, no crust, pickles to the left, 4 squirts of ketchup, wheat buns, non-dairy lettuce, and farm-raised tomatoes, carnival style.
That'll show Squidward to brush off SpongeBob. He also pays for everything with bubble money.
At least they left a tip.
So now Mr. Krabs hates him. That's already 2 people who hate him, but he won't be satisfied until everyone's felt his wrath. Which is exactly what this toilet does for hours on end.
My friend's in there.
Congratulations.
2 hours later.
Ice cold drinks.
The desperation is real. Honestly, if all the fish here are willing to wait this long to use that toilet, I don't know if that says a lot for how stupid these people are or how extravagant this toilet is. He also may have killed a man.
Kids, bury me!
Okay, he definitely killed a man. Here at the gooeyest lagoon, SpongeBob and Bubble Buddy have the time of their lives, yet they somehow manage to offend everyone in their wake. Not much even really happens here, but the entire beach grows to hate them. Bubble Buddy takes way too long in the bathroom, shakes Pearl's hand, which cleans it and makes her sad because some famous gross guy shook it, and kind of, but not really, calls everyone fat.
Shake it! Yeah! Shake that bubble butt! Yeah!
Not only do I hurt on the outside, but I also...
I mean, technically SpongeBob called them fat, but even then, not really. These fish are honestly all too quick to jump to weird assumptions and get easily offended over nothing. Larry the lobster? More like Gary the snail. But that pretty much sums up what all transpired to make the beachgoers hate Bubble Buddy and form an angry mob that wants to pop him. Alright, when put like that, this doesn't make the episode sound all that good, but trust me, it is. Mr. Krabs and Squidward somehow managed to find out where SpongeBob and Bubble Buddy went, then Squidward goes to pop him.
No!
Forget everything you know about Bubbles, because this plot twist is so intense it gave me vertigo.
Whoa!
So Bubble Buddy was real the whole time, which also means that he could have saved this poor fish from drowning, which is a sentence that I said, but he didn't. Brutal. But he ends up stopping Squidward and leaving the Lagoon of Goo in a bubble cab because things are just getting too weird for him, says the bubble. So as far as stories regarding sentient bubbles go, it's the greatest story ever told. I can't think of a better one. Can you? But Bubble Buddy's a fun concept, and I can see them going a few different directions with this. The direction they chose to go was to mislead the audience and then make a pretty good episode. I liked it, and I'm confused. It's not about Bubble Buddy, though, even though it's called... Bubble Buddy is barely in this episode. Why is it called Bubble Buddy Returns when Bubble Buddy barely matters to the plot? He's just as important as Leif Erikson was in the last episode. He sends a letter to SpongeBob through bubble mail, and in true Bubble Buddy fashion, this completely harmless-looking bubble causes mayhem to everything and everyone in its path.
Hey, you stupid bubble! I just washed those!
This ain't no ordinary bubble, though, because this is Bubble Buddy's son, Shiny. Bubble Buddy wants SpongeBob to watch Shiny while he's away and kinda just forces him inconveniently on him. Yeah, that seems responsible. Yeah, like, what if SpongeBob was in Zambia just having a good old Zambian vacation and Shiny just showed up to an empty house? Really bold of Bubble Buddy to just assume that SpongeBob's home all the time. SpongeBob is given one rule: don't let Shiny get popped. So naturally, Shiny gravitates towards all the sharp objects he can find, and gives SpongeBob anxiety the entire time.
Don't worry, I'll save him. Nope. Jagged glass. Barbed wire. Cactuses. Cactuses protected by barbed wire.
Why does Squidward have cactuses protected by barbed wire? This is the random SpongeBob randomness I know and love. Classic SpongeBob had tons of moments where you thought you knew what to expect, but then something completely left field happens and you're left laughing at the sheer absurdity. Here, you can pretty much assume this episode's just gonna be Shiny going around a bunch of sharp objects, isn't it? And you'd be absolutely right. No, Shiny, don't go to the Bikini Bottom Pen Factory, you'll get popped. Oh, never mind, you're fine, just SpongeBob got hurt. No, Shiny, don't go to the Bikini Bottom Scissor Works. Bad things will certainly happen to you and there. Oh, nope, you're fine, and SpongeBob got annihilated again. No, now it's the pitchfork pantry. Certainly you'll be fine and SpongeBob will get hurt, right? Yeah, that happened. Predictable as this episode is, the next scene did catch me off guard enough to where I did end up laughing a good bit.
Let's see if there's someplace safe for you to visit. Ah, that's it. The Pillow Foundry. You'll like it in there. Pillows aren't stains, huh?
Pillow production is serious business. There was also a funny scene where Shiny turned the Krusty Krab into a calamity factory, and it's good to know that tormenting the Krusty Krab is part of the Bubble family tradition. At the end, Bubble spouts another head for some reason, then Bubble Buddy comes to pick him up. Why didn't he just escort his son to SpongeBob's house in the first place? That seems highly irresponsible on Bubble Buddy's part, but you know, that makes sense. Bubbles don't really come off like good parents. Shiny does pop by the end, but it's fine. This is normal for him. In fact, Bubble Buddy carries him around in a bubble container. Bubble Buddy takes him home, and then we say goodbye to a SpongeBob episode. Solid episode. Nothing spectacular, nothing offensive, a perfectly acceptable continuation to the Bubble Saga. I do like how all the members of the Bubble family are seemingly complete menaces, and I'd want to see more of it. It was far better than Squidiot Box, and I'd honestly like to see more of the Bubble family in the future. SpongeBob has quite the list of sequel episodes, and I'd like to cover more of them as time goes on, but I don't think I'll do that. If you want to see me cover them, I plan to do it anyway. Are you getting mixed messages yet? Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube video where I talk about SpongeBob sequels.